Hi guys, welcome to today's lesson on 9.6, day 1. Today we're going to start something new called the quadratic formula. So we're going to talk through that here today. Our objective, use the quadratic formula, and then our essential question is how do you identify A, B, and C so that we can use them in the quadratic formula. Feel free anytime during this video to pause it if you need to catch up, but I'm going to get moving forward. So to start, right, what is the quadratic formula? It's this statement right here. So to solve an ax squared plus bx plus c problem, right, a quadratic, we can use the quadratic formula to solve for x, to find our solutions. So the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So what we're going to look at here, first off, what are A, B, and C in the equation below? So we've practiced it so far already. Notice we have A, B, and then this looks a little different. So what we actually have to do is we got to subtract 21 on both sides. So we get x squared minus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Now we can say this is our A, our B, and our C. So A is equal to 1, B is equal to negative 4, and C is equal to negative 20. So just be careful if ones aren't written all together like that. Make sure to get everything onto one side. Get 0 on the other, then you can use the quadratic formula. So moving forward here, what are the solutions to x squared minus 4x equals 21? So again, right, first put it in standard form. We already did that. X squared minus 4x minus 21 equals 0. We said A was 1, B was negative 4, and C was negative 21. So what we're going to do here is we're going to rewrite the quadratic formula. We're going to fill in our numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it without all of our numbers in it at first. Right? Every single time you do quadratic formula, you could write it like this. Right? Those things are staying the same every single time we do it. But now we got to fill in some information. So our b was negative 4. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So what I want us to do, what we're going to do in these types of problems is almost break it into 3 parts. We're going to solve for these 3 parts. 2 of them really quick and easy. The third one takes a little bit of time here. But what I'd like us to do is to take this and first focus on what's going to be here. X is equal to, if I have negative 4, it's going to be positive 4. Plus or minus, we will come back to this, all over 2 times 1, which is 2. Right? Those were the 2 easy parts. Those were the 2 easy parts. So now what we need to do is figure out what's underneath our square root. Right? We have negative 4 squared, which would give us positive 16. Then we have negative 4 times negative 21. Then times 1, right? We don't have to worry about really the times 1. So we're adding 84. What we also could do, right, some of us might leave that negative there, and you could have subtracted 4 times negative 21 would have been minus a negative 84. Either way works, because, right, you're still going to get plus 84 there. So if we do this, we'll simplify this down a little bit more. So we have 4 plus or minus the square root. If I take 16 plus 84, I get 100. And all over 2. And now we'll go one step further. 4 plus or minus the square root of 100 we know is 10 over 2. And so now the question is, what do I do with something like this? Right, I've gotten it down, I've simplified all 3 parts. Now I need to come up with my answer. What you're going to do is really just write 2 separate problems. We now have x is equal to 4 plus 10 over 2, and x is equal to 4 minus 10 over 2. And if we do this, we end up getting 14 over 2, or x is equal to 7. Or over here, we get negative 6 over 2, or x is equal to negative 3. So that right there is an example of the quadratic formula. We'll go through some more examples here as we go along. If you need to pause or go back at anything, please do so, but I'm going to move forward here. So we have another example. This time, right in standard form. Lucky for us, it's already in there. So our A is 1. So we're looking right here. Our A is 1, our B is positive 7, our C is positive 10. So again, I like to write out the pieces that I'd have, and then I'm just going to fill in the missing pieces here. 2A. So again, x equals negative b, so I'm going to plug in 7, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And so just like the last one, we're going to simplify all 3 parts to make our problem a little easier to look at. So we have x equals, we just have negative 7, plus or minus the square root, we'll get to that, over 2. Right? Those ones are quick. Now we look at the square root here. 7 squared gives us 49. Let's just focus on this. 4 times 10 is 40, so we have minus 40. So if you have 49 minus 40, we can even go one step further and just know that that is 9. So now lucky for us, right, it's a nice square root here. This is really negative 7 plus or minus 3 over 2. And we have one step to go. X is equal to, break apart that plus or minus into 2 separate problems. So now we have negative 7 minus 3 over 2 as well. If we do this, x equals negative 7 plus 3, which gives us negative 4 over 2, or an answer of x is equal to negative 2. And then over here, we get x equals negative 10 over 2, or an answer of negative 5. And there are 2 answers, or our solutions, using the quadratic formula. So we're going to do another example here. Another example. This just takes a lot of practice here. So what are the solutions to 3x squared plus 11 equals 17x? Well, first we got to rewrite it here. Right? To get this over, we got to subtract 17x on both sides. So this is going to look like this. 3x squared minus 17x plus 11 equals 0. So my A value is 3, B is negative 17, and C is positive 11. Now this one you might need a calculator, so make sure you have it handy. So we have x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I start filling in my information. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we start combining here. We simplify it out. Negative, negative would give us a positive 17. Plus or minus, we'll get to that square root all over 6. So I'm going to do, I take negative 17 squared. We get 289. I'm going to take 4 times 3 times 11. I get 132, and then I still have subtraction in there. So I'm going to take 289 minus 132. I get an answer of 157. 157. So now the thing is, if I take the square root of 157, and if you guys do that right now, you'll notice it does not give us a perfect number. So what we're going to do, right, x is equal to, we got 17 plus square root of 157 over 6. And then we have 17 minus square root of 157 over 6. We're going to come up with decimal answers. We just got to be a little careful here. Don't simplify too much, right? If we take 157, this gives us an answer of 12.52996.409 in my calculator. I'm going to use that whole entire number until our final answer. So I'm going to take 17 plus that 12.5 and then divide that by 6. 17 plus that divided by 6. If we do that, we get an answer of 4. I'm going to round to 2 spots, 4.92 approximately. And then we'll do the same thing over here, but I'm going to do 17 minus 12.529 so on. And then divide that by 6, and we get a decimal of 0.7. Right? So sometimes we may get decimal answers, and that's okay. Right? That's what's nice about quadratic formulas. We can find those weird answers that we wouldn't be able to find using some of those other methods we use. So what I'd like us to do on this next page here, I have 3 problems. I have 3 problems here. What I'd like you to do is pause the video. I have the solutions all figured out, and I'll move forward to those, and you can pause right on them. But I have solutions for all 3 of these. So if you want to try one of them, try all 3 of them, whatever it is, to get us ready for doing the quadratic formula. So pause the video, try a couple of them, and then you can check your answers as you move forward. So answer for the first one here. Have all the work right here for you. Or if you want to pause the video, feel free to do so. Same thing for the second one. And the third one. So that is it for today's lesson on 9.6, dealing with the quadratic formula.